African dude on a green card runs into white hillbilly on a lonely stretch of highway deep down south in the swamps of Louisiana. What do you think's going to happen? Well, we're going to talk about it. And here's the story. So if you know anything about Louisiana, one thing about Louisiana and ex-convicts is ex-convicts in Louisiana have the oil and gas industry. That's right. The oil and gas industry is a large provider for ex-convicts with employment. It offers job opportunities to people who have been convicted of felonies or getting released from prison or on probation and parole. You can get a job in the oil field. The oil field is always hiring. It's always looking for people to add. It needs reliable people. And it doesn't matter what you did, as long as you're reliable and they can trust you and send you on a job, they're going to hire you because they need bodies out there in the oil field. And what I mean by that is it's a 24/7 business. It doesn't sleep. And it takes strong-minded men and physically strong-minded men and some women. But I've seen women try to get some women. They do have women who work in the oil gas field. I've seen them. I know they do. They work on the tugboats. I've seen some. Some of them work on the ships, Just is in proportion to how many men, it's a lot less women because it's a hard job to do. It's not easy to work on them boats and to work around those pipelines. And it's a lot of dangerous stuff. Anyway, oil and gas industry provides convicts with a solid, firm foundation to build a better life for themselves once they get released from prison in Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and the South. You get it. So to not have the oil and gas industry booming is a big deal. And it opens up a door for people who are ex-convicts to get discouraged and despair because other jobs aren't as readily available as the oil and gas industry. So if you shut down the oil and gas industry or hinder it in any kind of way, you're also hindering employment for people who rely on that. And let me tell you something, not just ex-cons rely on the oil and gas industry, but family and friends of the ex-convicts also rely on the oil and gas industry. And people who don't have nothing to do with prison or crime, they rely on the oil and gas industry in the South. It's a big deal. A lot of people get their jobs from that. You don't want to get rid of that. So here's the thing. Also, immigrants come to Louisiana to get jobs in the oil and gas industry. So anyway, we're going to get right into this story. So I'm working in the oil and gas field. And at this particular company I work for, I had about 4, 5, 6, of my partners who I knew growing up who also worked at this company, maybe more than that. And that's just at this one company. And most of the dudes I'm talking about who I grew up with are ex-convicts, felons, and been to prison. Not all of them, probably about 85% of them. And they got these solid jobs and able to put their feet on a solid foundation and grow and get money legitimately so they can take care of themselves and also be taxpayers. But also another thing is they had a lot of people who were immigrants who come from the Philippines. They come from Africa. And some of them come from Central America, South America. And so they come to the United States, into Louisiana, to get into the oil and gas field. And so there's this one dude, he was from Africa. Now, he wasn't the only one, but this is the story I'm telling you about. And he was working for the company who I was working for. And this company that I worked with, we did inspection work on the barges and the ships, on the pipelines, and on the shore tanks. So what we did was, we was basically the middlemen between the buyer and seller of oil and gas. That's right, the big oil and gas companies, Shell, Exxon, you get it, to the big day traders sitting in New York, trading stocks and trading things like oil and gas, buying and selling and flipping. We went in whenever somebody sold or bought 500,000 barrels, 20,000 barrels, we would move it from point A to point B, test the quality and quantity, and make sure that everybody was playing fair. Yeah, they trust ex-convicts with that. I was trustworthy. My company trusted me. They knew I was going to do a good job, and I did do a good job. I didn't mess around. I treated my job serious, and that's how I grew in it. I'm not in the industry no more, but I'm very appreciative to what the industry provided for me and my family. It gave me a firm foundation and a solid job when I needed one. So they got this African dude. He gets hired, right? I don't remember his name. When I got at the company, he was on the back end of his employment before his green card ran out and he had to go back to Africa. Anyway, in the oil and gas field and in inspector work, you work 24 hours a day. So you can get a phone call at 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning and you have to get up and go out to wherever they send you. And so you can go deep down in the swamps because that's where the oil's moving. That's where they're drilling it from. That's where they're storing it. And so they asked this dude to head down, way deep down into Plaquemines Parish, past Belle Chase, Louisiana. And you got it, if you know, you know. It's basically picture good old boys, cops who know each other, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 generations, all been in the same town. They don't take kindly to outsiders. It's growing now because it had a lot of land and they're starting to build big houses back there. But when I was growing up and when my dad was growing up, it was a different time and era. And even before then, you can even picture it. So yeah, there was some racism down there, and there are racists down there. There's racists everywhere. So this black dude, he's driving. He's heading back there. He's from Africa. The cop pulls him over, right? All of a sudden, it's around 3 or 4 in the morning, 2 or 3 in the morning or whatever. And so the supervisor at the time, who wound up being the manager at the company, he's sleeping. He gets a phone call. And it's like I said, it's early in the morning. So you picture he's sleeping, he gets a phone call. He says, hello? And he is a dude on the other line. And the other dude goes, Tommy. And he says, yeah. He said, Tommy, is that you? And he says, yeah, what's going on? You know, Grog is still waking up. Hey, everything okay? And he says, no, I'm scared. And he said, wait, he's still trying to wake up. He's trying to figure out what's going on because he's used to getting calls in the middle of the night because people are letting him know how much quantity they just measured because you got to let the customer know how much they had. So he's just thinking this is a regular phone call, but this isn't a regular phone call. The dude's whispering. The African dude's whispering. And he says, I'm scared. I'm so very scared. Please, Tommy, help me. And Tommy says, wait, slow down. What's going on? I don't want to say that. I honestly don't remember the dude's name. Might have been Hans. Because, you know, Africans got their African name, but they also got like an English name, a German name. His was like Hans. So I don't know what his African name was. And don't say before you start crying about racism. That's just the way it is. So a lot of African people tend to take on different American names or, you know, European names or whatever. So his name was Hans, but that wasn't his birth name. But that's what he went by. So he's like, what's going on, Hans? And he's like, Tommy, I'm scared. He said, why are you scared? He said, listen, I'm in the bushes. And Tommy said, why are you in the bushes? He said, because I'm scared. He said, why are you scared? He said, I'm in the bushes. He said, well, why are you in the bushes? He said, I'm hiding. He said, why are you hiding? He said, they're after me, Tommy, and I'm in the bushes. I'm whispering, please come get me, Tommy. I'm scared. And Tommy said, whoa, where are you? He said, I'm on the highway, on the way to the oil terminal, but I had to run. He said, well, why'd you run? He said, because the police pulled me over. He said, whoa, why'd the police pull you over? He said, I don't know. He said, what happened? He said, I pulled over and I ran. He said, well, why'd you run? And the dude said, Hans said, I don't know. He said, you don't know why you ran? He said, I'm scared. I'm in the bushes. Please, Tommy, come get me now. And Tommy said, man, wait, hold on. What's going on? He said, they're coming, Tommy. There are police sirens and lights everywhere. Please, Tommy, I'm scared. I'm in the bushes. He said, well, why are you in the bushes? He said, Tommy, they pulled me over. He said, well, why'd you run? He said, because, Tommy, I'm scared. In my country, if police pull you over in the middle of night, you're going to die. He said, what? He said, the dude said, yes, I just remember my country. If you pull over in the middle of night in Africa, you die. He said, what? He said, well, why'd you run? He said, I told you I'm scared, Tommy. I'm so scared. And so Tommy said, listen, this is what we're going to do. Stay on the phone with me. He said, let the police know way out. He said, get out the bushes. Keep the phone on me. And Tommy, he had his wife call 911, let him know what was going on. And so the cops, finally, they drew down on him. Tommy could hear him. The cops saying, get out, motherfucker, get out, blah, blah, blah. They got their gats. I'm going to blast, boom, 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 boom. I'm scared. And they got the guns drawn on them, right? So it's crazy. Anyway, the cops get this dude. They arrest him. They put handcuffs on him. It's all, you know, they do him. They get him. Blah, 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 twist him up, man, put the handcuffs on him, and they got him. Well, he ran, so they don't know what's going on. But at this point, they're searching the dude's car, and they're finding chemicals in it. And so they think this dude's manufacturing methamphetamines. And I know for certain, because I got pulled over down there, and the cops thought I had methamphetamines. But that's a story for another day, because we deal with chemicals. We got like little, it looks like you got little mini labs in your truck. But it's really for chemicals, for testing the chemicals. Methanol, ethanol, ethylene, polypropylenes, and all that good stuff. Acids, sulfuric acids. Yeah, that's the type of stuff we deal with. So anyway, they searching his vehicle, so they think he's running because he's a meth manufacturer. But he's really not. So when the cops start talking to him, they're like, why'd you run? And his African accent. And Tommy, by this time, the company comes out there and everything. And so they let the police know. And so the dude lets the cops know, the reason I ran is because, and they explained to me, so I run from you because in my country, when cops pull over, they gonna kill you at nighttime. I'm scared. They said, no, we wasn't gonna kill you. The dude had like a missing headlight. His tail light or something was out. And so that's why he got pulled over. But the cops wound up being cool about it. They didn't charge him with flight resisting, nothing. They gave him a ticket for the headlight, and they wound up letting the old boy go because they really believed him. They could see he was sincere. Now, before you start complaining about being in America, getting pulled over, acting like you're just gonna get blasted for no reason. I watched all the videos. People ain't getting blasted for no reason. That's rare. Most of the time they did something stupid. The cops were sympathetic toward this dude. They let him go. They didn't charge him with flight or nothing. They saw that he really was scared. Now in Africa, when they pull you over with them choppers and that M60 on the back of that truck, you know what's going down. They're looking to rob you, and these are the cops. And they're going to leave you stinking for the lions and the hyenas. And this dude, Hans, was cool. Like I said, I don't remember his real name. But by the time I got to the company, he had only worked there for a few months, and his green card was up, and he had to go back to Africa. But dude was a super cool dude, and he didn't live a sour life because this happened to him. He took his ticket. He got his ticket. I don't know whatever happened to it. The company might have paid for it. That's how good it is to work in the oil and gas industry. Sometimes those oil and gas companies, they even take care of your tickets for you. And so, he wound up going back to Africa. Like I said, I don't know whatever happened to him. He probably still worked in the field. He was a good dude, so he's probably doing good in his life. But the reality is, where he came from in Africa was way worse, way scarier than anything he could have went through in the United States, even in Hicktown, Louisiana, in the bottom of the swamp. They didn't even do the dude like that. They let the dude go. So those cops showed that they can understand a sincere story, and they dealt with him sincerely. Yeah, they gripped him up and grabbed him up and twisted and turned him like a pretzel when they were putting them cuffs on him and had the guns drawn. You know how it goes. But when the dust settled and cooler heads prevailed, the cops understood what this dude was going through, and everything moved along accordingly. And that's the way it's supposed to be. But nowadays, the old convicts are coming and going. These younger dudes coming up, man, they got more victim mentality than I've ever seen in my life. Always crying about something. Victim, victim, victim. Everybody's a perpetual victim. They always see what somebody's doing them, but never what they doing somebody. Terrorizing society, their mom, their dad, their children, elderly in the community. Bunch of punks. Still want to live like that. And then they want somebody to co-sign with them. That's the thing, people co-signing for them too. These weak-minded people, especially coming from these universities, are co-signing for these chumps. Ain't no old school gangsters. It's rare to find somebody real who still lives by the code. And you know what the code is? You know you're committing crime, and you know you're doing dirt, and you know you're doing wrong, and if you get caught, you got to take your issue. It's a game you're playing. It's a numbers game. And if you get away, you're grateful. And if you retire, you're blessed. But you steady complaining. Perpetual victim. It's time to change that. Change your mindset. Reprogram yourself. Read some positive stuff. That's it. We're going to talk about something else later. And I'm going to tell you later on about what happened to me and why them cops think people are dealing methamphetamine when you get pulled over at 2 a.m. when you're trying to work in the oil and gas field. Until then, let's get it.